Hello, everybody! It's season 13!
Woo!
My name's Haiyue. Woo! Welcome to the VML. My name's Haiyue. I'm here with Nile today. Nile, season 13. Is it unlucky 13 or lucky number 13 for you?
Well, I'm hoping it's lucky number 13. I think standard's great right now. Of course, we've got Duskmorn right around the corner. It's going to shake things up, but I'm just really excited to get to watch and commentate on some more standard gameplay. So I feel very lucky. I feel very fortunate at the moment.
Well, I also feel very fortunate because you're here with me, Nile.
Oh.
Yeah. All right, so it's so if you're new to the VML, welcome. We are a league for people of marginalized genders. We are in Magic the Gathering. We are sponsored by Wizards of the Coast. Thank you very much to Wizards for making all of this possible. Each season we have 128 players. The slots sell out in about 3 seconds, and they're all battling it out. So they play 7 weeks at the beginning of division play, where everyone gets put in a division of 8 players. You all play each other. Then after that round robin stage, there's a cut to the playoffs, where we have 4 weeks of playoffs at the end of the season to determine who's going to make top 8 and who's going to be a winner. And this season we have some pretty sick prizes. As with every season, the top 8 players make their local regional championship. That's a really weird thing to say. Make the regional championship of the region in which they live. And they also, at a top 16, there's places 9 to 16, get invites to the arena qualifier weekend of the next month. Plus, of course, the top 8 also win their invite to the VML Championships, which is coming up at the end of the year. And the VML Championships is super cool, actually. It's super cool, like little 24-person tournament where we are giving away 2 Pro Tour invites. So you can get all the way to the Pro Tour just by playing VML events now. Very excited.
Very exciting. And of course, that is a very hard path. I mean, there are a ton of absolutely powerful competitors in the VML, and you've got to get through your division, you got to get through the top 32, and then you have to go play against all the people who have also done that. That is a tough path to the Pro Tour.
Yeah, it is absolutely not easy to play in the VML. We've been going 13 seasons now, and every season we have some of the best players in the world among the ranks, and every season we have a lot of new players, which we actually love. Like, it's this kind of environment that we really try to build and encourage, where because you get to play every week and you get to play every round until the end of the division play, it means that you're not knocked out before you get to play the best players in the field, and you get to really kind of boost your learning journey. So we have definitely seen a lot of great talent come out of the VML now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I got my competitive restart into Magic through the VML, and it being so accessible and visible was a huge part of that. And I had a ton of fun and I stayed with it, and here I am now.
Here you are now. Well, this season we have 128 brand new players who are battling out to make it to the top 8, and we are playing standard, so it is Bloomburrow standard just before Duskmorn comes in. Let's have a look at the metagame for the week and see how it's played out. Niall, tell us about this format.
I mean, standard, I think, is a really great and interesting format. And I think it's been in a pretty good spot for a while now. And I feel like it remains to be in a pretty good spot. I mean, you can just tell by this sort of metagame breakdown that we have here, we are seeing a lot of deck diversity. So we've got Golgari mid as the sort of most played deck here, which is not unsurprising. The deck is very strong. I think there were a lot of doomer, the world is ending people whenever the Vraska combo first got revealed. But I mean, that isn't even really the scariest part of the deck. It's just the Golgari deck to me just feels like the deck that is playing a deck full of really strong high value cards. Like every card in the deck, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a great card. That's a great card. It just feels so powerful. We've got the Dimir Analyst deck. We've got the Domain Ramp here. Gruul Prowess, which is very scary and is one of those standard decks that feels like it is also essentially a Pioneer deck, and sometimes it just runs over you. And I mean, it feels a lot to me like Convoke before rotation.
Right.
Uh, and speaking of, we've got Jeskai Convoke as the last one that's a big enough wedge here to have a name. But beyond that, I mean, basically half of this pie is various other decks, which I think is very cool.
Certainly very cool. And we love seeing the creativity here at the VML. And we love seeing, what the players come up with week by week, especially as the season goes on, because we tell everyone the schedule of who they're going to be playing every single week right at the
Mhm,
beginning, which
mhm.
means that as we go on, we're going to see players start to maybe respond to what their opponent's doing, try to level up on them, try to wrong foot each other. And that's a pretty unique aspect of the VML that we will be looking forward to in weeks to come. But right now, we are here in week number 1, and we are going to go down to have a look at the players in our first feature match of the day. And we are here with your fave Maeve in division number 1, and they have brought Golgari midrange. So, what do you think is there anything kind of standing out about this particular build of Golgari?
Yeah, let me make sure I have the right list pulled up here. Um, I mean, to me, this is pretty stock Golgari. I mean, we do have the Bloomborough edition of Innkeeper's Talent, which, is part of the Vraska combo that I mentioned earlier. But again, like the Vraska combo isn't even like the scariest part of this deck. It is something that you have to respect, but Innkeeper's Talent just plays really nicely with the rest of what you're wanting to do. And I think that is very cool. I love the one of Caustic Bronco in the side here. Um, yeah, I think this is just like I was saying earlier, a deck full of a bunch of good cards.
That makes a lot of sense. And I think Maeve is also looking forward a little bit to next week because they said that they want to try rooms and or making Blink Overlords work. So we'll check in
Ooh.
later on in the season to see whether Maeve managed to get any of that going. But for now, let's have a look at Maeve's opponent for the week and what they brought. It is Random Child, and they brought Azorius Control. Now, Nile, usually, when you see a mid-range deck and the opponent is control, like generally that's not what you want to see as a mid-range deck. But is it different in this case?
Well, I will say I am a huge blue-white control stan. I love I love this deck. I love what Fountain Port has done for blue-white control across all formats. Um, in my experience, decks like the Golgari one can be kind of tough for you because what they're very good at is sticking a threat early that you then have to decide how you're going to play around. And I think if you play it smart and you don't like overcommit to the board, play into their board wipes, things like that, you can establish enough of a threat early that you make the game very difficult and awkward for them to navigate. I think this will be a little bit easier here with cards like, main deck Seed Sharks, for main deck Beza the Bounding Springs. I think that
Mm.
helps a lot, but I'm very interested to see how this plays out in this sort of new version of standard blue-white control.
All right, well, let's find out together as we go down to the action. Our first feature match from week 1 of VML season 13. And by the way, we have this cool new match overlay that we're going to be
Ooh.
seeing in action. So as we get down to the match, let's see how the opening hands look. We're going to be watching from Maeve's perspective, it looks like. And this one, no green mana, but a bunch of nice threats.
Yeah, the no green mana is awkward, but I like keeping this because we have the turn 1 duress if we want it. Then we've got our Mosswood Dread Knight that we can draw cards off of. I mean, drawing into the swamp is really nice because now we've got Liliana online for turn 3. I think this is looking pretty good here for Maeve.
Here is that turn 1 duress, so we're going to find out what Random Child's working with as well. Looks like Caretaker's Talent, a couple of copies of Get Lost, as well as those creatures you were talking about, Seed Shark and Beza in hand.
Yeah, I definitely think taking taking out the talent early is the move here. I like that a lot. But I also think this is a fairly scary hand, although it is short on mana, which it seems like that is what Random Child might be deducing for, and they do hit it.
There we go. So there is that. Is that the fountain port? Oh no, that's another demolition field.
Yeah, as a demolition field.
Okay. All right.
And really, the position you never want to be in as blue-white control is having to main phase that deduce, because you have to put the shields down, and now Maeve gets to just stick this Liliana, which is, I mean, even with the two get lost in hand, so annoying, you know, and it really feels like right now Maeve is in control of this game.
Yeah, the random child's gonna pitch a copy of Elspeth's Smite, and then get lost Liliana. She's gonna hit the bin, but it's looking like, you know, random child didn't find that key fourth mana and can't really develop the resources at the moment.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, that Liliana, I feel like, did so much for Maeve here. You know, got rid of a card from Random Child's hand, got rid of a Get Lost, and also, you know, kept them off of being able to do something like crack that clue to look for a land. And, you know, Maeve has ways to spend their mana. You know, we can crack these map tokens.
Yeah, here we go. Getting the Sentinel down. It's pretty beefy already. It's a 4/5, and that's going to be able to kind of match up to the Beza, even if it comes down this turn, perhaps thanks to those map tokens. Oh, still no land.
So punishing.
Ouch. Oh, this one might be over a little bit faster than we're used to for these control matchups. Bat gets to have a look at the hand, and wow, he's just taking the deduce here feels so cruel.
It's brutal, but I mean, you know, we have got answers for these creatures. You know, like they can play out a shark or even a Beza next turn, and we've got the go for the throat for it. We can. I mean, I think right now the really tough decision is: do you, you know, play another bat? Do you get a creature on board? Do you crack some map tokens?
Right. I mean, Maeve will be wanting to close this game out while they are ahead on the land front, but as we've all been there before, where we've all, you know, overcommitted into the control matchup and had that go poorly. So nice to see Maeve taking some time to think about the decision here. Gets in with the Sentinel and Random Child down to 50.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think it is curtains for Random Child here. Ooh, I mean, not hitting that fourth land again makes it feel a lot more like curtains.
Right. This turn, there's at least 9 damage coming across. Oh, I suppose there's removal in hand.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they had hit the fourth land there, you know, we'd have the out of like get lost of the bat, deduce, you know, get a fifth land, draw a Sunfall for turn, and feel better, you know?
Right.
But not hitting it, just not being able to double spell ever, so awkward for Random Child here.
All right, and here is that Get Lost. Takes care of the Sentinel before it can generate more value, although it does, of course, give Maeve some more map tokens anyway.
It's making maps one way or another.
Just, and here comes the second bat. Oh.
Yeah, I really like getting rid of the other Get Lost here. Really sets Maeve up for success.
Yeah, and even the Restless Cottage seems so brutal here. And yeah, Random Child's going to scoop it up. So, a bit of an unfortunate game one for them. Always want to be drawing all lands. when you're playing blue-white control, but we're going to go to the sideboard now, and let's have a look at what is coming in for Maeve. Looks like Dreams of Steel and Oil. It's one of my pet cards.
Yeah, Dreams of Steel and Oil, very good card. I think just adding in more of this hand disruption, maybe might even see more of these threats that we can stick early. Anything we could do to get under the control player. I mean, obviously that game, some games your opponent just isn't going to hit their fourth land, and you're just going to be in control that whole time. But you can't count on that, and I think what you really want is just to be able to stick something early and put them in awkward positions where their cards aren't as valuable as they would hope.
Right, and we see, there's a pretty light touch approach here, just getting rid of cut downs, maybe one copy of the Innkeeper's Talents, and mostly holding on to the kind of original build of the deck.
Yeah, I think that's a very, very reasonable and disciplined approach here. I mean, obviously the duresses and hand hate cards do so well against a deck like blue-white control. And this seems like a very nice hand to me. Oh, and drawing that
my
duress.
Goodness.
That's dirty.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, perfect draw there. Duress turn 1 on the draw. Sunfall, the only target. Get to see the rest of the hand as well. Tishana's Tidebinder, Loran, and Beza. So actually not a lot of targets there for the Duress, but Sunfall a pretty big one.
Yeah, Sunfall's a huge one. Although we can see that Random Child, brought in more of their creatures. I think especially like Tishana's Tidebinder is going to be very effective against the Golgari deck. Just being able to shut off a lot of these creatures and planeswalkers.
When Random Child decides to play out the Caretaker's Talent that they just drew, instead of holding up something like the Tidebinder.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable play. Talent is definitely a card that you just want early, and you want to start generating value with it immediately. We are... I do think it is sort of awkwardly positioned against a deck like the Golgari one, just because they have so many different ways to get rid of an enchantment.
Right. But Random Child's going to pass it back. Not going to play the Beza out just yet. I think it's not creating tokens, right? Like it's not creating fish.
Yeah, it wouldn't make fish because we would have the same number of creatures.
Right. And it doesn't make treasures because Random Child was on the play. So ultimately this turn, gonna just be holding up Tidebinder or perhaps the mysterious 4th card in hand.
Or perhaps just a Fountain Port, 3 mana, make a fish, draw a card. Pretty respectable.
Yeah, I'm in. Where do I sign up? Maeve really thinking hard on this Liliana.
Yeah, I mean, Maeve is in a very awkward spot here because, you play the Liliana and you're just playing right into this Tidebinder. And then we've got the Anchorage that can attack into Lily.
Right, it's just not great in this position. Wow, and even playing out the Dread Knight is kind of awkward since it does then turn on the Beza.
Yeah, it is. It is all pretty awkward. I like this quite a bit. I think it is, unless the 4th card in Random Child's hand is a Get Lost, or the card that they draw is a Get Lost. We can Tidebinder this, but then we can either spend Oh, we can't even activate the anchorage, actually. We don't have the blue and the
There's
white
no
to do it.
right. Yeah.
And since we have the Go for the Throat next turn, we'll have Liliana back online.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Here comes Beza now. So not actually doing much other than gaining a life.
Gaining life, drawing a card. Yeah. Making a 4/5.
Yeah, that's no Omnath, but you know.
Now, of course, we can like Go for the Throat, the Tidebinder, and then force Random Child to sacrifice the Beza. Or could even, angle to protect the Liliana if we wanted and, try to get her up to 6.
It's a pretty interesting decision here. Let's see how much Maeve really values the Liliana. I mean, it is going to be at the very least, kill the Tidebinder.
Yeah, this feels like a very valuable exchange for Maeve.
Yeah. Essentially gets the 2-for-1 with the Go for the Throat. Here comes the map token. Second Go for the Throat. Are we interested in that?
Not interested in that, which I think is pretty reasonable.
These Golgari mid-range creatures, it's exactly like you said, Niles. Just other than there is that one flashy combo in it, but other than that, it really is just every card is so solid. Every card gets so much value. Oh, and there's Sunfall off the top for a random child.
Yeah, very good Sunfall.
Oh, Sunfall triggering Caretaker's talent is so gross.
It's disgusting. It's so sick. It does make it a little awkward here because we can get the Lily outside of the 2/2 tokens range. Now, Random Child could activate the token and also activate the Restless Anchorage, but tapping all the way out to deal with a Lily, especially now that there are 2 of these Planeswalkers.
Right. It's tough. Oh, Glissa. Yeah, that's a nice one as well. You were talking about all these different ways to get rid of enchantments that the Golgari deck had.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. Activate the Anchorage. Activate Incubator, Transform. Both of those go a Liliana. My Anchorage is going to make a map, but I mean, Maeve does have the second Liliana, which is really not what you want to see if you're in Random Child's seat.
Yeah, definitely not. But got to do what you got to do, I suppose, to get rid of the Lilianas that you can get rid of. I mean, this one can potentially get up to 5 this turn, which we might be able to attack out of, with the map token.
Right. Yeah, there's also Glissa. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
Glissa's very tough.
obviously, Random Child doesn't know that, but the Glissa is just First Strike Death Touch is just so annoying now.
It's incredibly annoying.
Like, why? Why have you done this to me? Okay.
Getting to draw 2 cards off the deuce is very nice.
Oh, it's practically an ancestral recall at that point.
So true.
Okay, all right. Get lost for the Vraska, which it was the bigger problem, but no answer for Liliana. No attack with the Anchorage.
No attack with the Anchorage. Maybe holding up mana for something. Maybe just wants to draw.
Could be. The
Maybe
Tidebinders were in the sideboard, by the way.
Yeah. Now, could have made a fish there and didn't, which makes me feel like Random Child has something they want to spend this mana on.
All right. Well, we can find out what it's going to be. Restless Cottage comes in. It's going to do some graveyard eating, although now that we have Lost Memory Deluge, it's less important.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now we've got the fish that can block the Glissa. We also get to...
Oh.
I guess the fish can also attack into the Liliana with the anchorage.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But there goes the caretaker's talent. A duress on the top.
Keep that one there.
I wonder if we're wanting to keep it there permanently or just wanting to stack +1/+1 counters. Looks like we're wanting to keep it there permanently.
Pretty interesting. I mean, hand disruption is good.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, especially when you're this close to just closing out the game.
Let's see what Random Child can do here. We definitely know that it's available to take out Liliana, but...
Yeah, but it is at a heavy investment to do so. Interesting. I wonder if they considered popping a map token on the anchorage. Oh, no, the Sunfall was coming.
Okay. Well, I mean, Random Child is just kind of holding on. Is that 2 copies of 3 Steps Ahead?
Yes, it is. And I think they... Oh, maybe they both won't get got because we want to spend the mana on this cottage, which that Sunfall turn also pretty effectively punished Maeve for using those map tokens on the Glissa as opposed to the cottage, which would be a 6/6 right now.
Right.
Another duress.
Yeah, I think I agree with this. Like, at this point, you kind of want to find some more threats. And, you know, Random Child just has the 3 Steps Ahead, but 3 Steps Ahead is a pretty powerful card, and I think they have enough mana to do quite a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we can basically just do all modes, right? Which we can get a copy of that 3/3. We can counter this bat. We can draw and discard. Now, do we have enough to do that and activate this token?
I'm not sure. I think that
that's 8 mana.
I think
one
they
short.
have to. Yeah, I think they have to choose. I think it's 2 modes plus activate.
Yeah, I think
the copy doesn't get counters.
Oh, sure.
Okay, sure. That makes sense. Okay, so first gonna take out the Restless Cottage. Then we are gonna see this 3 Steps Ahead cast. So counter is 3, then +3, I guess, for the draw to discard one.
Yeah, the counter is 3, and then an additional 2 for the draw discard. It looks like we're going to get rid of the Fountain Port in response, which is good. That is a land that's going to generate Random Child a ton of value.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, we might be pretty close to the point of stabilization for Random Child.
Yeah, I mean, this is really how these things turn out, right? Like, they still have at least one anchorage plus the incubate token to kind of deal with any threats that Maeve finds. Maeve doesn't have a lot of kind of damage out of nowhere, I believe.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, yeah, I can't think of anything. Like, depending on how Random Child is able to draw here, I mean, Caretaker Talent is a great find.
Wow, perfect find off the top for Random Child. The Fountain Port is gone, but those restless anchorages also make maps, I believe.
They do make maps. Also, we can just level up the talent and make like a copy of one of these maps to draw a card real quick and see where we're at.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What we would really love is a way to make tokens on Maeve's turn.
Wow, my kingdom for Wandering Emperor.
Oh man, could you imagine if there was a memory deluge in the graveyard right now?
Oh, it would be so sweet.
Now, we saw Random Child not level up the talent to 3 last turn, which makes me think that there is something like maybe another counterspell in hand here, which, yep, there it is. There's the 3 steps ahead.
I mean, this is the point at which it just starts feeling kind of unwinnable.
Yeah, I mean, that Caretaker's talent is huge. You know, that represents like a card every turn. You're just going to get outvalued. They're going to slam the door in your face. I think this is a very wise concession.
Yeah. I mean, you do not want to be like running your clock down, kind of just trying to grind it out.
No,
and
not against blue white control.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to see a game 3 here, which is very exciting. And we're going to find out whether your favorite Maeve with Golgari Midrange can take down the week 1 matchup against blue white control. It's been 1 game apiece, and we're going to go into the third one. Yet another great looking hand for Maeve Duress into bats, Dread Knight, Sentinel, go for the throat.
I would snap keep this hand so fast.
Yeah, I think Maeve working out pretty nice there for Maeve. Oh!
A lot of lands in hand there for Random Child. But 2 of them being Fountain Port, very reasonable.
Yeah, and it is interesting, like in these slower matchups, I mean, it can be a slower matchup. When you're in that control seat, and you know, Nasa, you said you were a fan. I have to agree, like I am also a big blue-white control apologist.
Mm-hmm.
That sometimes you just think 5 lands, if I can just play a land every turn, I'm gonna draw a bunch of value.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, the cards drawn were not counter spells. It looks like Sentinel of the Name of City gets to come down.
Yeah, it looks like not a counter spell and also not a, you know, get lost or kill spell or something.
Maeve is playing beautifully around what Random Child could have. That didn't come down on 2. Waited until there was a threat down. Doesn't develop out the second Sentinel unnecessarily.
Mm-hmm. Now that Beza is pretty valuable.
True.
They're likely to get at least the fish and the life and the card off of it.
Okay. Here comes the first Beza. It is going to be... Is that all the modes?
No, I think it's
Not
everything
quite.
except for the treasure token.
Gotcha. Let's go for the throat.
Wow, this might actually make it to where the second one is able to hit all modes, depending on how this plays out here.
The existence of Beza is actually pretty interesting. Like, when your opponent doesn't know about it, it's obviously great, but when your opponent knows about it, like we can see Maeve kind of really thinking about whether they need to be kind of changing their behavior and how they actually develop out their lands and creatures just to kind of maybe try and wrong foot the Beza on the other side.
Yeah, I almost would have been tempted to block with both fish there if I felt pretty confident that I was playing Beza next turn. Oh, but it seems like there's something else we are wanting to play. Which maybe means, we've picked up something like a Sunfall we're not wanting to lose our Beza to.
Could be a Sunfall. There is also, I mean, there's at least an Anchorage activation, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, this bat is getting pretty hench, though.
Yeah. Could just be a kill spell, could be a counter spell, a deduce.
Okay. What can you deduce about Random Child's motivations from that play?
I can deduce that they really need a way to wipe these creatures out.
That seems reasonable.
I would feel pretty confident jamming this Liliana, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it would be tough for Random Child to deal with the creatures and the Liliana, that's for sure.
Yeah. I think I'd feel pretty empowered to play Liliana here and just spread my threats out, I feel like against blue eye control, I want a diverse portfolio of threats,
Yeah, you want to hedge your bets. You want to see. But it is going to be all the eggs in the Murphic basket.
Oh, what a pull from the deduce. That's crazy.
Wow. Maeve looks like a genius.
Maeve looks like a genius. I'm sorry, Maeve. I should have never doubted you. You were 3 steps ahead on the No More Lies.
Wow. Now the Beza again gets to do all the modes.
Everything but draw a card that time, I think.
Everything but draw a card, yep. I have to say, these go for the threats. I mean, I understand why Maeve kept them in, but they just don't feel that great against this token Z.
I think you kind of have to respect the 3 Tidebinders in the sideboard. I think knowing that they've, Random Child's rocking 3 Tidebinders, 4 Bezas, and you're just expecting them to bring in more creatures against you. I think it's pretty reasonable to bring in your go for the throats. Now, I'm personally feeling like if I'm the Golgari player, my threat's not a diverse portfolio.
No? You've been worried about market volatility.
I'm worried about the market volatility of Sunfall off the top.
What?
Or even just Sunfall off the top anymore. It is now also Get Lost off the top, because Get Lost off the top unlocks Sunfall.
Well, it's going to be another Caretaker's Talent. That's going to be drawing 2 cards by making another fish. Oh, I didn't even think about how gross these would be in multiples, but here we are.
Yeah, it's disgusting. And also, eventually you get these to level 3, and now, all your fish are 5/5s.
Yeah.
Those are Shieldred killers.
Oh.
Land. Oh, no.
Well, I mean, at least the good news for Random Child is that there's still a lot of card draw available.
Yeah, there's a ton of card draw available. And we've got like sacrifice a fish to the fountain pour after blocks, draw a card.
Mm.
We're also taking like 8 probably this turn.
Yeah, the Dread Knight does have trample. So I mean, Random Child does really need to find that Sunfall. Like it's not an optional at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It has 4 looks to find it.
So many looks.
So many looks. All the looks.
Oh, brutal!
No! Oh my goodness. That is. I mean, nobody expects the 3rd bat.
No one expects 3rd bat. Very well played from your fave Maeve here, though, to expect to get the fish to block and draw a card. Very,
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah.
And we've got a
Extremely.
ton of looks still.
Okay, so drew 1 card already for turn. And now we're going to see another 2 cards off the top. Get Lost would still do it, because that is a basic planes in hand. Oh, okay, now Get Lost doesn't do it. Oh, and that's gonna be it. Wow, 3rd bat coming in clutch, and your fave Maeve's gonna take down the 3rd game, locking up the 1-0 in season 13.
That was crazy. Very well disciplined play by Maeve there to try to bait out that card draw. Just really good. And I mean, that's exactly the Golgari game plan. Stick those early threats, make them very awkward to deal with, disrupt the hand. Very well played by both players, but congratulations to your fave Maeve for taking it down.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate in the first game for Random Child, but still, I
Very
mean, that's
unfortunate.
Magic. That's why we play the 3 games, and ultimately pretty close there between those two. And still very early on in the season, of course, for them as well. So let's go on to our second feature match of the evening. The evening. I always say evening because VML stream is usually on in the evening, but we are at the new time of
Make with the
PM on
times,
a Sunday.
Haiyue. The
I'm
world's
sorry.
changing.
I can't. I'm being left behind. I'm just one of these Luddites. And oh, we've got Phoebe falling asleep behind the
Oh
scenes.
no, that's terrible.
We've got Pipermaru from division number 2 here in week number 1, back with Golgari Midrange again in our second feature match of the afternoon. And this one, having a look at the list now, looks pretty similar. It has 2 copies of Caustic Bronco in the main deck, though.
Yeah, 2 Broncos. We've got the Preacher here. We're also running a Feed the Cycle, which I really like. I don't know how common that is in Golgari decks these days, but I like seeing it a lot. I'm very interested to see how it plays. But yeah, I mean, this is Golgari mid, baby.
All right, well, let's have a look at who Pipermaru is playing against and what they brought. It's Sam. It's Samantha Murphy. And Sam's been playing VML plenty long time, one of our community mods as well. And she's brought Dimir mid, so it's going to be a battle of the kind of mid-range juggernaut decks here with Dimir mid. And this one, a bit more in the air, has the Spyglass Siren, the Bats, the Fairy Masterminds, and leaning pretty heavily on Shieldred as well.
Yeah, I have been a big fan of the Dimir mid deck for a while now. I mean, it's been such a strong, play pattern and standard to just be like turn 2 bat, turn 3 good card. I mean, both of these decks are doing that, but I think, turn 2 bat, turn 3 Gix is probably one of the stronger follow-ups to that, especially now that Rafine is out of the format. So I'm very excited to see these two go head to head.
All right, well, let's go down to the action and find out what happens here. Is it going to be like, let's find out who comes ahead in this bat battle.
This
Where's
bat
that feed
battle.
That's what it is.
It
Am
is.
I wrong?
No, you're so right.
Oh,
You're so right.
thank you. I'm glad somebody recognizes that.
Yeah, game recognized game.
All right, so we're gonna see bat on 2 right on time for Piper, and we're gonna have a look at Samson. Oh,
Ooh, what a
what?
hand!
Oh, the 1, 2, 3.
Oh, be still in my heart. So happy to be the first person to play a bat into that.
Yeah. Oh, how about some bat on bat action? Nile, I know you love your bats.
I love them. And I mean, we were just talking about how strong turn 2 bat, turn 3 strong card is, which is exactly what Piper is able to do right here, and what Samantha would have been able to do, but you know, got the bat batted.
Yeah, the play draw dynamic really making a big difference here in game number 1. We're going to see Terra Sunder perhaps being used here by Pipermaru to take out the Gix.
Yeah, not even gonna give Samantha the opportunity to block this Gessa. Really just getting in there.
Really just getting in there, and Samantha, we know she's got 3 lands in hand and the Shieldred.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be finding out if she drew any kind of different options here.
Yeah, and I'm wondering how far off we are. I mean, I guess we can just feed the cycle and pay 3.
Yeah, I think Piper definitely kind of did calculate, I think, a little bit that using the Terra Sunder for 4 last time was just more mana efficient.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good. Innkeeper's talent plus Deep Cavern Bat is such a disgusting combination.
Just making the bat have ward and
It's making it have ward, making
getting
it bigger. Yeah. I've seen so many Golgari games where someone just wins with like a 9/9 bat or something.
That is truly horrifying. Okay, well, it was just removal spell for Glisser. And now Samantha gets to maybe play Shieldred on a board where she's going to be dominating. But Piper left up the fever cycle.
Yeah, I mean, Samantha has to expect that there is something like a feed the cycle in hand here. You know, just knowing that Piper didn't level up the talent.
Right.
But also seems like Samantha might be just a bit flooded out at the moment.
Yeah, not really where you want to be. Let's see how things play out. Both of these players certainly very skilled, very experienced, and will be thinking about all of the different variations of what could be happening. Oh, Urtai.
Yeah, this is very good. Oh, gets rid of the bat, you know.
Okay. All right.
Gets in under the ward.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. And Piper could still use the feed the cycle, but would have to forage to do so.
Yeah, which we have the cards in graveyard to do, I believe.
It's hard to get a read on what Pipermaru has in the graveyard, but I guess we'll find out. Oh yeah, there were plenty.
Go take a look at the Vraska. And this is a moment where you do start to fear the Vraska combo.
Yeah, I mean, Sam's done a pretty good job of kind of holding on to this through the flooding and the lack of resources, but the combo is not something that can be easily dealt with
Oh, and
in one go.
go for the throat off the top. Very nice draw.
Yeah, so pretty great here for Piper. He gets to level up the talent. Now, hand disruption doesn't do it for Vraska. There are counter spells in this deck. 2 copies of Phantom Interference and 2 copies of Tidebinder, as well as more Urtai. So there are definitely still outs for Sam.
Yeah, but it is tough, especially being as flooded out as she seems to be.
Right. Does her deck use the graveyard? I don't think so.
I mean, I think just for the one of feed the cycle.
Right.
I'm sure there's like a Takanuma in here too.
I think you'll find that Takanuma has
Oh my god, you're right. It's gone.
has rotated.
Oh,
Wow.
living in a different time. Well, there's 18 poison counters.
Wow. Yeah, that's too many. That's too many. And Sam's gonna go down to the combos. It is the first time we've seen the Innkeeper's Talent Vraska combo this season of the VML. I too long for the return of Takanuma.
You just like shook my whole world. Like I had totally forgotten. I've so many years of just like, oh, it's a black-green deck. There's at least a Takanuma, a Boseiju. Oh.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, I feel like a phantom pain. I feel like a phantom pain. Now you're reminding me that Takanuma's gone.
Oh, would you characterize it as a phantom interference?
I have a phantom interference.
All right. Spyglass Siren on 1 for Sam. So that's a nice start. Finds Bat on top, but is she looking for lands?
Is it a one-lander? Okay.
Okay. All right. It was not a one-lander.
We're just going aggressive mode.
Choking Miasma out the board here for Pipermaru.
Yeah, I like that a good deal. There's a lot of just like little fly guys that are pretty annoying.
Little fly guys. It just makes them sound like a podcast, you know?
Welcome to another episode of Little Fly Guys.
Yeah. Goes to end step. God, yeah. I love watching good players play. Just like, what's going on? What's going on, Nile?
Well, I think not playing out the bat is good because we don't want to expose it to something like a cut down. Especially having a Tidebinder in hand makes a lot of sense. Shutting down that Sentinel, very good.
Oh, and shielded off the top for Pipermaru. That is a huge presence on the battlefield, and we're in the upkeep now for Samantha, and has the go for the throw. So that is a big sigh of relief for Sam.
Oh, but no 4th land.
Oh, ouch.
Oh, into an Aclazotz. That is tough.
Okay, well there is the 4th land now, but this Bat facing off against the Bat. Is it the Bat Daddy or the Bat King? No, serious question.
what you call Aclazotz is between you and him. That's none of my business. You know, if you want to call him Bat Daddy, Bat King, whatever, that's totally fine.
Okay, all right. I just thought you might have an opinion. That's
I do. I am
the resident
aficionado. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think bat. I think either is appropriate. I think both are appropriate and
okay. Great. Wow, and yeah, that choking miasma, great inclusion. it turns out.
Mm-hmm. Discarding a fairy mastermind here.
Wow. So Akazots is a huge issue
It's
now.
such a problem. I think one of our best answers to it is like Tidebinder when it triggers
Right.
into kill it on our
Um
upkeep. This is like that, but worse.
yeah. Yeah, and Samantha didn't have the untapped land to pay the ward for killing the bat itself.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, now it just looks like Pipermaru with Golgari midrange is going to be starting to run away with the value here thanks to Moss for Dread Knight. And Sam can get in with the Urtai, but even on
I
board
like
there's...
that, sending a message.
Yeah.
Samantha Murphy does not go out quietly. She goes out swinging.
She goes out with an episode of the Fly Guys. All right, okay. So, I mean, here's Urtai that's going to be able to kill one of these threats.
Yeah. I mean, killing the Aclazotz is good for sure. But we are still in a pretty awkward, kind of desperate position here. Now we do have the Restless Reef on our side.
Yeah. Right, but Piper gets the Dread Knight down. That is another threat. Shield. Oh, here's Shieldred.
Shieldred's good, but with like Go for the Throat, with Gix's command, I think there's probably just
Yes.
like no way, you know? Plus we've got,
Yeah.
and I mean, remember the Gix's command, if, you know, we've got the mode of like put 2 counters on something, which becomes 4 counters, which
Oh,
becomes
yes.
6 counters when we go to combat. And we have a trample creature. It's just too much. It's too much.
It's too much. It's too much. All right. It's too much for Sam in game number 1. Oh, in game number 2 even. So we're going to see Pipermaru take down the match. And Golgari midrange continues trudging its way through the future match area. I mean, we can't really say, you know, it's like charging or anything with a great amount of haste or speed, but it's getting there.
It doesn't need to, you know. Slow and steady wins the race. It is about consistency. There's a reason Golgari Mid was the #1 deck we saw registered this week. I mean, again, the cards are all just very strong and they play nicely together. And yeah, very, very well played by both players. Huge congrats to Piper for taking it down this week.
Yeah, great job there for Piper. All right, well, now to the opposite of slow and steady as we get into our third feature match. Let's have a look at what we're watching and who is playing. We have Greatest Tanuki, and they are playing Gruul Prowess. So we were talking a little bit about this deck earlier. Now you said it was kind of had a pioneer feel almost to it, and it's definitely we've definitely seen some very fast games.
Yeah, I mean, this deck is like 6 cards off of like a bona fide Pioneer deck. You know, like this is such a disgustingly powerful deck. Now I think this is there's a couple different, you know, versions of like this sort of style of deck. I think for standard, I like the Gruul version a lot. We're seeing, I mean, the Innkeeper's Talent, which we saw do a ton of work for Piper in the Golgari deck last match, I think can also do a lot of work here. These Heartfire heroes are like the bane of my existence in Magic right
God.
now.
They're so gross.
The one saving grace, if you're up against this deck as opposed to like a Rakdos aggro deck, is, you know, we're not seeing any of the Callous Sellsword fling your guy, effectively get triple strike with the Heartfire hero. But extremely explosive deck that can take you out. I mean, I've seen this deck just take people out from like, oh, I've got 16 life, I'm fine. Nope. Slick shot off the top or whatever. Play like 4 spells, kill you.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting because I love Prowess decks, and it's nice to see one kind of come together in Standard, which we don't see that often. So it is nice that we have this kind of archetype available. Let's see how it does and who Greatest Snooki is playing against. And on the other side of the battlefield, we have Nicole. It's Nicole Dubin, and she is playing Jeskai Convoke. So Convoke lives.
It does. And I admire all of the people willing to play Jeskai Convoke because Boros Convoke was such a powerful deck. It was also like a pioneer power level deck. The worst part of Boros Convoke was the mana was atrocious. And so rotation happens, they lose Voltaire and Epicure, and they say, screw it, make the mana worse. Make the mana so much worse. Play Spyglass Siren, and it works. It works like really well. Like I think I would have never been like, yeah, make the mana worse. But they did, and it's amazing.
Well, I love that. Like that's the exact kind of thing that I would do because I'm like, yeah, like the mana's bad in 2 colors, but sometimes, we have all these fast lands, we have all these pain lands. Why not? Why not make it work in 3 colors? And let's see if let's just play it. Let's just see if Nicole can make it
versus aggro.
Aggro versus aggro. Oh, and we've got the hand cams for this one, so you get the full beauty of the new and improved VML match overlay as we see the opening hands, and it's going to be no green mana, but just 1 threat for in the form of 6-shot show off for Greatest Snooki and a multi 5 for Nicole. But this one is nice with the Ocean Frontliner and Resolute Reinforcements as well.
Yeah, Warden of the Inner Sky, huge rip off the top as well. Now, something, like the first 7 we saw from Nicole was actually very similar to the 7 we're seeing from Greatest Tanuki here, where it's like, it's a pretty strong 7, but, like it's not going to do anything turn 1. It's like weirdly a little slow for the deck. And Nicole's saying was similar, but now that we are down to this multi 5, Nicole has the advantage of getting turn 1 plays and being able to curve out a bit nicer. I love tapping for the Warden ability here.
Yeah, that is really sweet. And here comes the slick shot show off though. So let's start counting. We're up to 3 already.
Yeah.
There are
might stop counting. We might stop counting because we drew the slick shot.
That's fair.
Yeah, we stop counting and we just plot a second one because now we count double next turn.
Oh, excellent.
Okay, now we're back to counting regular.
Okay. I'm really glad you're here to hold my hand on this, Nile.
Yeah.
Keep me informed.
We'll count it up. Don't worry.
How multiplicative we're being at any given time. It's Questing Druid.
Ooh, extremely awkward pulls.
Yeah, that's pretty annoying.
Speaking of counting, though, I feel like counting the damage of like playing a Monstrous Rage on a slick shot breaks my brain every time I do it.
Oh, I honestly, I just wait for the arena to tell me.
Yeah, this will be a fun.
Yeah, whichever side of it I'm on, I'm like, I don't know. It's one of them. I mean, look at this. Like, Nicole is doing pretty well, right? Like, she's at 2 mana the whole time, has a huge board, some huge creatures, and it just might not matter.
It might not matter. It's so crazy. Like a green land or virtually any spell.
Oh,
Mm,
yeah, that's
I mean, I think that'll
okay.
still do it because we can give trample to the Swift. I don't know. I mean, again, the math is so crazy. So the Monstrous Rage is +2/+0 plus the roll token. So it's
Plus,
really
yeah,
+3/+1, right?
+3. Yeah.
But on the Swift Spear, it's really +4/+2. The Slick Shot is going to get what, +3 or whatever whenever we play the Rage.
Right, and there's
Everyone's
one
got
toughness
trample.
blocking. Everyone's got trample. And it's just okay, yeah.
One
It just
life. Oh, it's
one
enough. It's
one
perfect.
oh wow. That's just not enough. And I mean, this is how it goes with these aggro mirrors. Nicole had so many creatures on the crackback, like it just wasn't going to be possible to survive another turn. And here we are at the sideboard. Great
Well,
stuff there from Nicole, really hanging in. But ultimately, it was just the maths worked out in
that is
Nicole's
a
favor.
game where making the mana worse for the Spyglass Siren feels really good. Epicure was never making that block.
No, not at all. And it's funny because this could have been done before, right? Like it's,
Yeah.
but everyone was just kind of stuck with the Epicure mindset.
Yeah, it could have been done before. I like it a lot, but getting to see both sideboards here. Torch the tower. I mean, so much removal available to
Yeah,
Nicole.
and you can see Nicole is she's prepared. Like she knows what she's doing here. Like get rid of the more expensive stuff. You know, shave the pump effects, shave a couple of knights, bring in all the removal. She's on the draw this time. It's going to need as much interaction as possible. And these hands, I mean, Nicole's hand looks great, but this hand from
Nicole's hand
Snooki.
looks pretty good. It's the only awkward thing about it is what are we gonna gleeful, you know?
Hmm. I'm gonna solve that issue later.
True.
Wow, and Tanuki on the mole. I don't think not necessarily that surprising. I think that last hand bit slow, a bit clunky. It has to go again.
Yeah, I mean this is a pretty nice 5 though.
It's Swiss Spear on one.
He
Then
loves Swift Spear on
Ember
one.
love him. Yeah, very hasty hand. Ember
Mm-hmm.
Hot Challenger available on 2.
Mm-hmm.
And the removal starting already.
Yep, we've got the Challenger getting in there. Another Torch the Tower. Holy cow.
Wow, what a rip. What a rip for Nicole.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Okay, here's the Warden. Oh, and yeah, Tanuki just has to pass the turn. Has Questing Druid.
Found
Nicole,
something for the Gleeful.
yeah? This is going to get out of hand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if we can tap down before we do the Gleeful Demolition.
Okay, and yeah. Here come the dorks. These matches, you know, everyone always talks about how playing aggro is easy. It is not easy.
It is not. No, your cards are terrible. Your cards are so bad. All of your decisions are so important, so critical.
Right. Oh, okay. So
Shock is just a little too
tough,
late.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like here's Questing Druid. Sure, it can go a bit bigger. Shock can't really do anything about the Warden.
And then we've got this case here that's gonna
ouch.
rip through us, and the Imidanes. Ooh.
Oh. Okay, well, case takes down the Druid, and Greatest Snooki on the multi-5 cannot do anything about that. Nicole Dubin's going to take it down 2-0 in about 5 seconds flat, really, over the 2 games. And, you know, that's kind of what we were saying. It is not easy to play these decks. Like, each decision matters so much. The trajectory of how your games go just turn on so many minute details, and it's really tough. Like, I find it really, really tough, actually,
Yeah, I
to play.
mean, game 1 came down to, 1 point of damage, right? Like,
Right.
the margins are razor thin with these decks. So, congratulations to Nicole for being able to pilot a win here. Very great, she named her deck I Want a Saga with this, so clearly she's been playing it, she knows what she's doing,
Mm.
and that paid off this week.
Yeah, and definitely well played by both players, and for Tanuki as well. It's the start of the season. There's plenty of magic left to go in season 13, and I'm sure we'll be
Mhm.
seeing him a little bit further down the line as well.
Absolutely.
Uh, all right, okay. So, final feature match of the evening. It's time to get into it, and let's find out what's going on here, because I'm pretty excited, I have to say, Niall, about these two decks. On the one hand, we have mweepigeon. I'm just gonna refer to them as Pigeon. I hope that's okay,
Mhm.
because and they have brought Simic cookies, one of the coolest decks, I think, and
Oh,
it's been hanging
cookies
around for a
cookies is
while.
so sick. Cookies is very cool. Very excited anytime I see cookies being played in a tournament.
So, what's changed about cookies as we got into Bloomborough?
Well, we see have the hunter's talent being here, which fight spell, but also has some like card draw and trample effects, which is really great for cookies because something it sort of has always struggled with was killing creatures. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we see Mockingbird from Bloomborough here, which is just like a incredible card, but works really nicely with how cheap all of the cookies things are. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
being able to have it come in as like a wormlet or whatever is just very powerful. And then we also have this Azure Beast Binder, which again is like sort of removal. Like it's not like true removal,
Right.
but like it can deal with things in ways that cookies wasn't really able to deal with things in the past. So I'm really excited to see kind of how this plays out, how this new iteration of
Yeah,
cookies plays out.
me too. Azure Beast, it's like one of those tricksy cards. It's
Hmm.
got a lot of text. It does a lot of stuff. Also, I have to say I love Search Engine, the card. Like,
Oh, what a card!
I what a card, and I really had hoped to see it do more. I think in standard, so I'm really this is one of the reasons I love cookies. Let's have a look at the other side of the battlefield though, and see what Pigeon's playing against, because it's mono white token control in the hands of Jen, who is a long-time Canadian GP grinder, Pro Tour competitor, all around great person to hang out with. And she has brought mono white token control. Like, first of all, what year is this? Mono white.
Yeah,
This is still a thing?
yeah. I mean, this is another one of those decks that feels like fairly adjacent to a deck that's kind of working in Pioneer right now. Um, feels very powerful with cards like Caretaker's Talent. I mean, we saw that putting in a ton of work for the Azorius deck earlier today. Fountain
Mm-hmm.
Port, which is just one of the highest value lands I feel like I've seen in a long time. And then, getting like cards like Archangel Elspeth gets a chance to shine, which I think is very cool. Like all of these things, we've got the evangelist to pump our creatures. We've got the flicker effect from our loyal steed. And then of course just some the virtues to pump all of our creatures, the caretaker's talents again to pump all of our creatures. It's I think a very effective deck, and I have not really seen it much in standard, so I am extremely excited to see it be played.
All right. Well, let's go down to the action and find out what is happening, what's going to happen between these two decks. And it looks like we're going to be watching from Pigeon's perspective. So, a little tough mull already in game number one with down to 5 pretty quickly here, but this one
This
looks
is a good
sweet.
5 though.
Oh, hello.
Whoa, cauldron on the bottom. That's wow. I am clearly not a cookies pilot because I think I'm just like too Yawgmoth pilled from modern. I can't imagine ever putting cauldron away.
Just infected with the Yawgmoth's brainworms.
I am truly rotted out.
All right. Well, I mean, it was tap down on 1 and then quickly into the 2 threats on 2. The Wormlet plus Gingerbrute. Jen's going to be making a Knight at instant speed.
Yep, and happy to make that trade even with the unblockable Gingerbrute. We've got our new little Bloomburrow friend on the field now.
Mm-hmm. The Azure Beastbinder. Can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or greater, so it can only be blocked by other little dudes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And can lock something down. So, oh, Loran to take care of that Gingerbrute.
Yeah, Loran being a kill spell is pretty nice.
Yeah, but this Beastbinder is just going to be getting in.
Oh, and making a copy, a flying Loran.
Wait, what? Mockingbird can copy your opponent's stuff?
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
Oh, okay, all right. This other stuff happening here. This all of a sudden got very exciting. And this all of a sudden got very exciting. Fortune Loyal Steed coming down. And I love blink effects. Really pretty cool to get to see some blink effects happening in standard, although not really at this moment since
not really gonna get to see them right now with
that's gonna be a bear.
Yeah, the steed being just neutralized, and I mean, this 3 damage just getting through every turn is quite powerful.
All right, and we're gonna start seeing Loran draw cards here for both players. I love that Pigeon's just holding on to the Zoetic Glyph, by the way.
Yeah, very, very disciplined.
Yeah, just holding it for like a potential kind of kill you out of nowhere. Really smart.
Mm-hmm. Ooh. Getting the virtue down is huge.
All right, they're gonna start pumping up the team for Jen. I mean, those creatures were not blocking the Beastbinder anyway, so
yeah. Oh, this is very interesting.
Oh, and does Virtue untap creatures? It does. Right?
It does. Yes, it does. It gives them pretend vigilance.
Pretend vigilance. So Jen actually got to draw twice with the Loran. Okay, Hunter's Talent at level 2 started getting in. Jen at 10 life has to find something to deal with the board here. How about Beza Bounding Spring?
Beza's good. Now, I mean, the virtue is actually going to be making it to where no one's ever going to be able to block the Beastbinder here, right? Because like these 1/1s are going to become 2/2s.
Right, but now Jen's back at 14 and has a pretty intense battlefield of her own building up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is a dicey position. That is for sure.
Submarine here for Pigeon. Do you think does that change anything?
I don't think it changes anything in a very major way. This is huge. This get lost is huge.
Yeah, getting to kill the only creature that was kind of doing a lot of interaction with Jen's board.
Oh man, I do not want to be at turn 7 against a control deck who has 5 cards and this board state.
No.
Ooh.
Oh. Eternal Wanderer for Jen.
Yeah, Eternal Wanderer coming down.
What do you even do here? Do you even... You
It's
can just start
tricky.
flickering, right?
Yeah, you can start flickering. I mean, the double strike samurai getting the +1/+1 counter every turn is like pretty huge.
Oh, and speaking of flickering.
Yeah, being able to flicker the base is enormous.
Oh my goodness. This just seems impossible, like, from this position.
Yeah, definitely seems a bit untenable.
And, going back to kind of what you were saying earlier about aggro decks and the cards being bad, we saw Jen draw a lot of cards with Loran, and when you're playing the control deck and all your cards seem very impactful, you can kind of count on your opponent to draw some stinkers when you're letting them draw.
Yep. Yeah, we are going to have enough damage here to get rid of the Wanderer, thanks to these map tokens.
Now what?
But getting over the Virtue just feels so difficult. Even these fish are like major threats right now.
Right. At least they're the new type of fish token that can be blocked.
That's true.
All right. Boat's getting food.
Well, taking care of this double strike samurai while we can.
Yeah.
Gonna draw a card off this fish.
Just gonna look at Jen's deck. I mean, now Jen just has so much mana to work with.
This Fortune Loyal Steed feels so scary.
Okay, Lava Spur boost. Is that how? It doesn't really do anything about blockability though, right?
No, not really.
Well, time to crew up one of these map tokens. It's gonna become a 6/4.
Yeah, which will become a 7/4 when it attacks.
Okay.
And we are willing to trade the Beza for it. Which means we get the Discover trigger.
Okay, Discover finds another Beast Binder. Boots go on the newly entered Azure Beast Binder.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to give it to Pigeon here. They've done a really good job of playing through some really difficult positions. You got to be pretty thrilled if you're Pigeon to see this Frontier Seeker find a Plains.
Yeah. Oh, and again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many mounts there are. There's 4 copies of Fortune.
I think it's just the Fortune.
That's it. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay. The tough cookie. Namesake of the deck, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, the Beastbinder is actually like a considerable threat right now.
Right. Pigeon can just keep pumping up this one Beastbinder. It still can't be blocked by any of Jen's dudes.
Yeah, and we can turn off the flicker effect, so Jen isn't able to just, gain 4 life every turn.
Okay.
And really kind of like turning the virtue against Jen at the moment.
Right. And Hunter's Talent is going to eventually start drawing Pigeon some cards. And that's Soul Cauldron on top as well. So we could definitely see the Beast Binder get pretty big.
Mm-hmm.
The Vigilance actually kind of coming in clutch as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sunfall here would be brutal.
Jeez. Although a Sunfall, you know, like we've got the Vine Stalker on Pigeon's side.
Right.
Now it's time to see if there are any creatures in the yard that matter for this cauldron. At the very least, this cauldron is a +1/+1 counter ×2. You know, the wormlet's going to get one, and we can put one on a creature. Maybe this one that can't be blocked.
Oh.
Oh, putting that in the yard is enormous.
Oh my goodness. And then all of those creatures that have +1/+1 counters can be activated to have that Gingerbread ability. So wow, great stuff here from Pigeon, sticking this one out.
Oh my god.
Wow. Huge. And that's going to be it.
Probably. I can't imagine what Jin could have here.
Yeah, I mean, there's no settle the wreckage in this.
Wandering Emperor is gone. Wow, congratulations, wow. Pigeon. Very well fought.
That was really impressive. I mean, Cookies has always been really sweet, but I really do think that, you know, the new cards like Hunter's Talent and just the Beast Binder even have given it so many more options compared to what it used to have.
Yeah, I mean, this definitely feels like a good iteration of it. I think the Mockingbird, too, is a very cool addition to the deck. You know, Cookies loves having small evasive threats, and, you know, Mockingbird can be that, or can be something bigger that matters more from, you know, your opponent's side or something like that. But, I mean, that was a classic Cookies moment of, you know, putting a Gingerbread in the pod and just having a pretty devastating turn there.
Yeah, quite significant sideboarding here from Pigeon as well.
Yeah, I like bringing in the Tidebinders quite a bit. I think they're probably going to be pretty good here.
Oh,
this is a pretty good 6, though.
Yeah, pretty. This is not terrible. I hate Mirax. I'm just like, I'm just really biased against Mirax. I just hate it.
I love Mirax. I have so much faith in it. I'm like, you'll give me the mana I need today, and I'll figure it out for the future.
Yeah, I'm really glad they printed Fountain Port. Let's just say.
Oh, what a card! What a card, Fountain Port.
Temporary lockdown.
Oh, that's brutal. Now we do have the Haywire Might.
Okay.
So, you know, we'll get it all back.
Yeah. I played Toxic when it first came out, and Mirax was just, the mana was, oh my god. There was another two color aggro deck where the mana was just completely unusable in the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Fortune comes down for Jen, and Haywire Might takes care of lockdown. So we're back to the Siren, back to the boat.
Back to the map token even.
Yeah.
Which is pretty relevant with this glyph here.
Yeah, and Siren even gets to do some exploring as well. So Jen needs to find some action. How about
Temp Lockdown is very good. However,
wait,
discovering the end of the Floodmaw.
Oh my goodness. That's why you put it in the deck. I mean, that was really sweet.
But even if we didn't, you know, Pigeon not playing the Cauldron last turn meant that we would be able to just, you know, go to our turn, play the Cauldron, and then once we get a creature down, you know, maybe with Mirax or something, we still have our Haywire Might in the yard. You know, like that is a transferable ability on creatures.
Yeah, that makes sense. Wow, Cauldron?
Busted.
I know we keep saying that about every
card.
card, but Cauldron genuinely is busted. Like, genuinely, Cauldron is like kind of next level for a standard legal card. Like,
it's crazy. It feels way too strong.
Okay, more Floodmore. The boat does go down, but
boat does go down.
Cauldron cannot copy boat abilities, though, right?
No, because the boat doesn't have any activated abilities.
And
it's also not a creature, it's a vehicle.
Right. Okay, well, Jen does at least get to scry return, and she's at 14, taking 2 in the air. It's not the worst thing in the world. Plus, that temporary lockdown is still in hand.
Yeah, we can, Haywire Might it in response.
Okay.
Which just gets rid of our Siren, lets us keep the Soul Cauldron.
All right. So Soul Cauldron is kept, but that does mean no threats for Pigeon right now. Is there?
We do have your loathed land Mirex, which can make us a little guy at any time because it's a great land.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, you've just described what the card does, so
and it's great. I haven't even talked about how on the turn it comes down, it can be any color.
Oh my god. Okay, all right. Here's a little guy from Mirex. It can't block, but it can definitely attack. It can block also. Can definitely wear some abilities from Cauldron.
Can wear abilities. It can crew the schooner here. It can do a lot. What a land.
Yeah. I mean, everyone in Mirexing.
It's a crew in response to this laydown arms.
Okay, and now the schooner can potentially wear abilities.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is very interesting. It feels like Jen is baiting out the Cauldron activation. Okay, and then we get lost in response.
Oh, and does Into the Floodmore not target our own stuff?
I don't think so. I think it's just creatures or non-land permanents, if we give the fish that opponents control.
Right.
Oh, and now there's no way to make a creature. We're gonna have to flood maw this.
Right. But it's just, I mean, that really is not a long-term solution.
No. Yeah, that was a very good job from Jen there, baiting out the activation of the Soul Cauldron. So when she played that lockdown, there's no way for Pigeon to Haywire Might it in response.
Right. Okay, but now the Cauldron is active once again.
Yeah, now the Cauldron's active once again, and we already have a Might who has a +1/+1 counter on it.
Right.
So and I mean, at this point, the lockdown is also just like, I mean, the biggest thing it hits is Soul Cauldron, right? Like, other than that, it's kind of like worse for Jen.
Right. And I mean, Soul Cauldron just gets to keep going. There's still plenty of fuel. Here's the cookie now as well. Pigeon has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, potentially 3 activations of cookie.
Yeah, which, I mean, pretty strong.
Just gonna go for the 1. Oh, but
we
now
can
it's
draw a
Fountain
card
Port.
off of this. Yeah.
Oh,
What a disgusting card.
what a great card. So much better than Murex.
Well, you're not going to find any disagreements there.
All right. And here's that token on the end step as well from the Virtue of Loyalty that Jen drew. So, I mean, we've seen how out of hand Virtue of Loyalty can get.
Yeah, but I think it's going to get a lot less out of hand when all of our creatures are Haywire Mites.
Generally needs to find like a Laran or something.
Yeah, we definitely have to deal with this cauldron. The cauldron's making everything so awkward for Jen.
And Get Lost doesn't target artifacts.
No.
Hilariously. Creature, enchantment, or planeswalker is such a weird subset of permanents to be able to target. But B, just very bad in this exact situation.
Yeah. Very, very awkward indeed.
So what's Pigeon's path to victory here?
Pigeon's path to victory is being able to get something underneath the cauldron that's going to let them start getting in serious damage. You know, like we really need we kind of need like Wormlet to pop off a little bit and then get like a Ginger Brute, you know, or something like that.
Right. Okay. Get Lost takes care of the Murex, but that now means that Wormlet has a counter on it.
Yeah, the awkward side of Get Lost, where it gives your opponent free things.
So awkward.
I like this. We're sacrificing the Ginger Brute here, so we have a creature in the yard.
Oh, and now everything gets to become a tough cookie.
Yep, and this makes it where we don't have to sacrifice the Wormlet to stop on.
Yeah,
quite
great
nice.
stuff. Really heads up from Pigeon.
Ooh.
Okay.
But now we do pretty much just have to let Jen draw this card.
And Jen just sends all of them.
Yeah, block one of the toxic ones, like that a lot. A second Wormlet's pretty nice.
Okay. So Pigeon can definitely, pump up these Wormlets, keep making the Murexes, keep maybe activate a bit of the tough cookie ability from the Wormlet, but Jen is doing a pretty good job of holding up the fort as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Jen, I would say Jen is probably still in the very favored position. You know, she is very much in a spot of if you can deal with this cauldron, things are feeling very good for you. And even if you can, I mean, just like what we're seeing right now is already very powerful. You know, just like going wide. You know, like this this caretaker's talent is not long for this world, but you're still probably going to at least get to draw a card off of it.
Right. And so while Soul Cauldron is activating, so now Jen's. Oh, okay.
Ooh.
All right.
This is interesting. So now, yeah, we have to sacrifice a Wormlet to stop this, which gives Jen an opportunity to make a token and,
And still
wins
blow.
the fight over drawing this card.
Yeah. It's it's just interesting how both of these decks really have come down to kind of the weird permanence.
Yeah, for real.
You know what I mean? Like the talons, the cauldrons. Creatures are just being a bit of a byproduct here. Okay, and is I like Pigeon is cat.
Yeah, I think you just have to Tidebinder Battle Cry.
Right. Jen knows about that Tidebinder well since it was revealed off the Explore.
This is definitely a position where you really wish your Mirrex was a Fountain Port, as these mites cannot block.
That's just 100% of the time though, so
That's
it's not. I haven't really distinguished this particular moment. Oh my goodness.
Caretaker's Talent, such a strong card.
All right. Well, first things first, it's going to be Tidebinder to stop the battle cry.
Yeah. Okay, we get to animate.
All right. Animate a couple of things. Eat a couple of creatures. Okay, and now Jen has to be a little bit worried.
Yeah, a little bit, but also like, actually, is this crackback lethal?
Wait, surely. I mean, there's so many artifacts.
So we still have the 2/4,
right?
and we can activate.
Oh, we can copy a token.
We can activate like 4 of them. Oh, that's true. Yeah, we could make a token copy here. So there's 2 blockers, which is maybe enough to really matter.
Doesn't seem like it's enough. One, two, like this. Okay, all right. Is there a limit on how many you can activate?
I think it's just as long as you have the artifacts to back it up. It looks like we have 2 activations available to us right now, so we'd be getting in for like max 9 damage. I think just slow playing it another turn.
Yeah, that's pretty. I don't know. Like I think I understand that Pigeon wants to hold on to the Soul Cauldron, but I think that like there's definitely some argument for just going for it there.
Mm-hmm.
Now Jen gets on tab, has a million blockers available.
Okay, we're making a fish. Oh, so we're gonna make our might in response so that we can get rid of this caretaker's talent before the draw. Of course, we do still have the Mirrex activation for Jen if she wants to use it.
It's true. She is going to use it. So yeah. At least gets the card.
Yeah, I still like this a lot though. You kind of force Jen to tap out more or less. And I think what you're really hoping for is just to like rip a ginger brute or something, right?
Right. Okay, and Jen's gonna keep coming in. Leaves back. Oh.
Ooh.
Okay. No cauldron available, so that is going to. Is this double Elspeth Smite?
Wow.
It's double Elspeth Smite!
We can sacrifice our wormlet in response if we wanted to. No, I guess we don't want to.
Okay. Oh my. Okay. So, Frontier Seeker gets Flicker, generates another land. So, no cards in hand, just the plains. Same for Pigeon, open information, Mockingbird, the draw.
Mockingbird is such a Such a tricksy draw.
Okay, are there any mounts that
No, I don't
in
think
this
so.
deck? I guess the vehicles aren't mounts. So
It's gonna make a Tidebinder. That's good.
Sure. Makes a 3/2 flyer. Jen does have a lot of flyers. Being able to block those in the air does seem pretty nice. Okay. What does Jen find? I mean, this is really the thing, right? Like, if it's not a land, like, it feels like a lot of Jen's spells are relevant in this position.
Yeah, it feels like off of the top, Jen's cards are just like more impactful by and large. And also Jen's board state is just like very good.
Right. Ever expanding. And Jen has really done a good job of just kind of using attrition, right? To slowly grind away at all these tokens being made and locking up mana for these activations.
Yeah, and I mean Fountain Port really feels like the MVP for Jen this game.
Right.
It's generated so much value.
So much value. And she's been real aggressive as well. I do not know that I would have been this aggressive in Jen's spot.
Well, I think Jen knows that she's probably just, I mean, she's definitely just dead to a Gingerbread off at any point, right? Like,
right. Sure.
This game needs to end.
Yeah. All right. So. Okay. All right. So using the food mode.
Yeah, we're eating our own Tidebinder.
Okay, and now Jen's gonna slow it down a little bit. Just stick with the air.
Yeah, this is really tough though because every turn, Pigeon can make a Might who can get a +1/+1 counter and then, generate 3 life.
Right. Into the Flood Morpher Pigeon. I was not expecting this match. Oh, hello.
Ooh.
That's a Gingerbread.
That is a Gingerbread.
Okay. Double block is not gonna work out.
Unless this is like an Elspeth Spite in hand, or maybe we're just drawing a card off the Fountain Port. It does also force Pigeon to do this now, which means like you don't get to just throw away a 1/1 if you have like something like a lockdown or something next turn.
Just 4 mites now for Jen. And Pigeon, by the way, is at 6 poison.
Yeah, and I mean that could very well be what it comes down to.
What is that last card in Jen's hand? So there are 2 Fountain Balls on the battlefield, 2 Murexes. Plenty of mana. Let's go digging. All right.
Do a little lay down arms.
Do a little laying down. No blockers. Well, although Pigeon can activate, of course, still. Again, really going for that poison victory.
Yeah, which I mean feels pretty live, except for the fact that this Gingerbread is here. But is there enough mana? So 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 12 mana available. So playing and sacrificing Gingerbread is what, 3 mana?
Yeah.
So that leaves us with 9 available. So then let's say we, I don't know, like make a 4/4, make it unblockable. Yeah, I don't think we actually have it here.
Right.
But also, can we stop the mites? I guess we can
It's
turn
not
this whole
clear.
cauldron into a blocker as well.
Right, and there's also an Into the Floodmoor in hand.
Right.
Oh, was that Caretaker's talent?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I think I'd be
Okay,
pretty
well,
tempted to Floodmont token. But I can understand not doing it, just assuming that you're gonna have to.
oh,
Ooh, this is huge. This is an
that
enormous draw.
is absolutely massive. Finally, Loran comes off the top for Jen, and she's been looking for that for the last, I don't know, 20 turns or something.
Yeah, this
And
is
all of a sudden,
back-breaking.
yeah, things are really changing in this game number 2. I was not expecting this matchup to be so grindy, Nile.
Okay, wait, now can we stop? I guess now we have to Floodmaw a Mite to stop the Mites from killing us.
Right. Oh, and get to flicker the Loran as well.
Oh, wait, no, there's only 2 Mites attacking. We can just block them.
There's 3 attacking, right?
Oh, yeah, sorry, there's 3 attacking, but we can have 2 blockers.
Sure.
There's only 1 getting in.
How do we have 2 blockers, sorry?
Can't we activate the turn the food into a 4/4?
Do they don't have that ability anymore though, right?
Oh, the cauldron's gone. You're so right.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
Oh
yeah, that's
wow.
game. That's game.
That Loran off the top was absolutely clutch for Jen, and we're going to be treated to game number 3 of this incredible matchup with these incredible decks and incredible players. So I'm super excited. It was really tough there for Pigeon, I think, just having to kind of hold on and almost got there. Like really almost got there.
Yeah, yeah, that was a very dicey game, and I think very well played and piloted by both players. Really, just like you know, uh, forcing sort of awkward plays out of each other at various
Mm.
times, and really, really, really well played.
Yeah, I could not agree more. So it's going to be a mull to 6 here for Pigeon in game number 3 on the play. Has the Haywire Might down.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to get eaten by a token.
Yep, and then we've got our unblockable little 1/3 friend.
Right, but actually, Pigeon, like having the Haywire Might in the graveyard has been pretty helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Here's
Yep.
Gingerbread.
We go, get our 1 little point of damage in.
It's going to be 2 little points of damage. Niles, excuse me. Thank you very much.
Yeah, pretty aggressive activation of the cauldron there.
Yeah, definitely pretty. But I mean, this is a lot of damage.
Yeah, I mean 6/5 that you can't block. That's 3-turn clock. Hello.
Hello? Oh, okay. Loran has to take care of the cauldron, but
Yeah, but this gingerbread's still a huge problem.
it's a huge problem. Does
So
Jen have another removal spell?
yeah, that makes it
Okay.
less of a problem.
All right, but getting a teething wormlet isn't the worst thing in the world. Second teething wormlet, both of them are going to get triggered.
Mm-hmm.
Gingerbread's back.
Ooh, a Surge Engine, a
Oh,
card we have not been able to see this match, surprisingly.
yeah, that is also difficult to block. I think this deck is just full of these really tricksy, really annoying little
Yeah, I mean that's what Cookies is really
friends.
good at, is just play these little guys who are like highly evasive, make it really difficult or impossible to block them, and then just like kind of slip through the defenses of your opponent.
So he has the Surge Engine. Jen's in race mode. Puts the Caretaker's talent up to the final level. Is it called a level?
I guess. Yeah, I think that's right. I think it's a level.
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
not a chapter. I feel pretty confident about that.
Yeah. And those knights are pretty hench. Both players at 9 life with a pretty similar board state, but that Surge Engine, it can get big. It can become unblockable.
Yeah, it can become a problem for sure. Having to make this trade here is a little tough.
Not ideal.
I think this Virtue could also be pretty devastating.
Oh.
Or just get rid of the new biggest threat.
Yeah, that's pretty tough of Pigeon. So Jen still has the 5 mana available to play the Virtue if she wants. Does not do so. Gingerbrew number 3 for Pigeon.
Yeah, these fish
of
are
course.
problems now.
These fish are problems. Okay, and Fortune comes down, so the Rand's gonna possibly be able to be flickered. I'm just trying to think whether Cauldron off the top is doing it for.
Before the laydown arms, I think it was, because Cauldron off the top would make the Wormlets go to 5 and 2.
Right.
And then you put a counter on either of them, and we're up to 8 damage.
Right.
And, we can sack the Ginger Brute. I guess we would have actually been 1 mana short of being able to do it all. Here we go.
Okay.
This little Explorer. Zoetic Glyph's a great card.
Okay.
Kind of makes
it's still
tracking this map more awkward.
Yeah, that's not going to be enough. And Jen Crotts is going to get there against Pigeon, but in a very, very hard fought 2 games to 1. And great stuff from both players. But I really actually have to, I think, give it to this cookies deck rather, because it really surprised me. Like, we've seen cookies before, it's always been able to come out the gates really quickly and put a lot of pressure on and all of that stuff, but just this ability to play a much longer drawn out game, get the value and find these kind of edges, these different ways to win is really sweet.
Yeah, it's a very cool deck. It's always fun to watch, especially in the hands of a really strong pilot like Pigeon was here. Congratulations though to Jen. I mean, seeing the mono white token deck work like that was so cool. Like the Caretaker's talent value was off the charts. So many tokens getting created, so many cards being drawn. Very sick. I was so I did not expect how good the Loyal Steed was going to be, but that seemed like it kind of just commanded the game for a lot of those. Like that was crazy.
And it's just even just being able to scry to every time, right? Like,
it's just huge.
Bag breaking. Yeah. And that's before you even get to like how every other thing flickers. Like
flickering Laurens or flickering bases.
Yeah, that's pretty disgusting.
Yeah, it was great. It was very cool.
Very cool. All right. Okay. Well, that was it. That was our 4 feature matches for week number 1. We saw a lot of Golgari midrange in action. We saw some pretty cool aggro decks in match number 3 with Jeskai Convoke and the Gruul Prowess deck, and we saw some pretty off the wall but still very strong strategies in that final grinding match between Pigeon and Jen there with the mono white tokens and cookies. So Nile, what are your takeaways from week 1?
I mean, I think standard is still in a really cool spot. I think it's, I think there's still a lot of diversity to the decks that you can choose. We saw aggro decks winning, we saw mid-range decks winning, we saw control decks winning. I think standard's really sweet, and I think more people should be playing it, and the VML is a great place to be doing that. So I'm excited to see more from this season, especially after Duskmorn hits and shakes everything up.
Yeah, me too. The Dustmon, I believe, comes out during next week. Is that right? So we will.
Yeah, I think it comes out like early, like the early release of it or whatever comes out next week.
Right.
So I think we're probably a couple weeks out of like VML matches having Dustborn cards, but
Yeah, I think you're right. But yeah, okay, yeah, plenty to look forward to. Great start to the season for our players today, and we will be back every week during the season. So every Sunday, 3 p.m. Pacific, right here, twitch.tv/VMLMTG. We have just got to say thank you to everyone. Thank you to our players, to our awesome producer Phoebe, to our sponsors at Wizards of the Coast, of course, for making all of this possible and supporting the program. We have, I think, we've been working with them a while now, and they have really done a lot, and we have managed to achieve, I think, quite a bit thanks
absolutely.
to the partnership with them. So we are very pleased about that, and thank you to all of you guys for hanging out with us. And Niall, how can people find you if they want to check you out?
Yeah,
Oh my
I
god!
am I
Imagine I
am
said that in a normal way.
Sure. I am at NileJoanRivers everywhere you can find me. That is Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, all over the internet. I make Magic the Gathering content, especially geared towards new players and players trying to get into competitive Magic. So I love working with the VML. I really love getting to do this, especially when I get to share the booth with you, Haiyue. Uh,
No.
I think it's a ton of fun. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
All right, fantastic. And as for me, I'm at Nefet. You can find me on Twitter, but I'm already kind of doing a bit of a recluse from the internet act right now. But I do cover a lot of tournaments. And the next one coming up is going to be CubeCon, actually.
Woo!
You'll be seeing me on coverage there. So I'm super excited about that. And you may be seeing Niall there too, also, I hear. Perhaps.
Maybe.
Maybe. All right. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week back here, Sunday, 3 p.m. And until then, have a good one and stay safe.
Bye.